Joining us now is another survivor of the weekend, Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen, a member of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, so deeply involved in all of this, and also, of course, on the floor the whole time. Thank you very much, Senator, for being with us on a Monday, earlier than you might expect to be.
Great to be with you.
Well,
it's great to be with you.
We haven't seen you since you've gone through so much. It's so glad to see you healthy, because I know you've had a rough summer. But I want to begin by asking about this bill. So if it's signed into law, is it going to help Americans in the short term? Now, I think it is a misnomer. It's politics to call it the inflation bill, which it really isn't. Steve Pearlstein, a liberal economist by trade, a longtime columnist, now retired, has a big piece in the Washington Post today saying this is not going to help inflation, but it does other good things. And I would think that politically for you guys, climate might be the best thing that you can advertise to younger voters.
Well, yes, Andrea, look, lots of things contribute to the fight against inflation. Obviously, the Federal Reserve is on the front lines. Economists like former Secretary of Treasury Larry Summers, who Mitch McConnell has been fond of quoting lately, has argued, and I agree, that because of the deficit cutting provisions in this bill, it will also put downward pressure on inflation. But the big accomplishments here, in my view, are, number one, finally allowing Medicare to negotiate the price of drugs in that program and driving down the price to seniors, extending the premium supports for millions of people on the Affordable Care Act so they won't have to be paying more next year, and the investment in climate initiatives, which will have important pocketbook impacts, helping consumers lower the costs of heating and cooling by making homes more energy efficient. And of course, in the big picture, reducing the emission of greenhouse gases, which are choking us and the planet.
And of course, Senator Kyrsten Sinema, this hedge fund carve out, both the carried interest and also the 15% minimum tax. How do you really justify that? And she certainly holds the cards. Any one senator in a 50-50 Senate holds the cards. And it was late in the day on Sunday when they had to scramble, Senator Warner and others scrambling for a fix to make it all still hang together.
Well, Andrea, as you know, I supported closing the carried interest loophole, which benefits hedge fund managers, and I also opposed the provision that would help the private equity funds that own majority stakes in certain businesses. But the bottom line, as you were indicating earlier, is we got this done. Would I have liked to have closed those tax loopholes as well? You bet I would have. But the big picture is we got it done. It will reduce the deficit. We came up with alternative tax measures. And we are closing a lot of tax breaks for very wealthy corporations and others, including that 15 minimum percent tax on big corporations, some of whom were paying zero income taxes in the United States. So this is an important bill. We also empowered the IRS to go after wealthy tax cheats so that we collect taxes that are already due and owing from very wealthy people who try to hide their income and not contribute to the country. So, again, a big day on the climate front, on the healthcare front, and on the tax reform front.
Just quickly, putting on your foreign relations experience, let me ask you about China. Because China today extended beyond what it initially threatened to do in terms of their live fire exercises, and they may not be using live artillery firing anymore, but they've still got virtually a naval blockade going with their maritime activity. How worrying is this?
Well, I really think this is a manufactured crisis by President Xi in response to Speaker Pelosi's visit. We've had many other delegations. Speakers of the House have visited Taiwan before. As you know, President Xi is preparing for his upcoming party Congress this fall, where he's seeking an unprecedented third term. And I think this kind of saber rattling and chest thumping ahead of that party Congress he believes serves his political interest there. But it's important that China de-escalate. It's important that the United States be firm. We are not changing our policy. Speaker Pelosi was not trying to change our one China policy, but she was, and we all underscore the fact that we oppose any effort by China to reunite Taiwan by force, by violence.
And your concerns about Ukraine and the nuclear plant at Zaporizhzhia, which the IAEA says is at risk with the Russians are controlling it, and whoever is rocketing back and forth, the point is that it's the Russians who control it. They can't get in to have inspections, and they say it's been mined.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, we've got we're into many months now in Putin's brutal war against Ukraine, and this treatment of the nuclear plant there just shows how reckless he's prepared to be, endangering people in Ukraine, not just through his direct military actions, but endangering people in that region and around the world with the possible meltdown of a nuclear plant. I mean, Russia, of course, experienced Chernobyl. They should understand the costs and risks they're taking with the world.
And this is many times the size of Chernobyl. Indeed. Thank you very much, Senator Van Hollen. And again, glad to see you up and well. Hope you get some rest after this weekend. Thanks, sir.